Say it now.
Hey everyone, it's Beth Mairs. Hello Dervish. We are in the last week of the campaign on IndieGoGo to raise money to get the rough cut together in order that we can pass this film off to top-notch post-production people. And the first thing that I'd like to say is how much I appreciate everybody's support. I've been working on the film now for 1 year and 11 months with absolutely no funding, just for the love of this story. It started off with my friend Dan and I deciding to follow a new roller derby league here in Sudbury back in May of 2012. And initially our commitment was to follow them for 4 months through their first season of play. But after the 4-month mark, it became clear that the story was getting a lot deeper. It was starting to become a more profound opportunity, at least in my eyes, to look at how a voluntary organization made up of women, especially young women, struggles, and how one has the high aspirations and how difficult it is on a practical level to stay true to that vision. I went into this project knowing nothing about the sport of roller derby, nothing about the subculture. I also did not know the women, but they were a cohesive group who all knew each other. So I was, rather than an insider, an outsider. This is a film where I could have never imagined what would happen and where the story would take us, and how fortunate I feel that the women of Greater Sudbury Roller Derby League were trusting enough of me to have me follow them behind the scenes and through candid moments, and not just through their triumphs, not just through sort of a superficial pat, raw girl power kind of portrayal of the sport, but rather to also go with them into some of the darker moments, some of the times where their relationships are frayed, where they're experiencing conflict within the league or from outside of the league. Because I've been in all-women environments for decades now, I think that I'm kind of responsible for perpetuating this myth of women-only spaces as being this utopia of never-ending togetherness and supportiveness. And we all know that while all women groups can be very nurturing, that they're not always nurturing, and that there are conflicts. And I think with this film, while portraying the incredible camaraderie, the incredible support that was a part of this league, that does not negate the fact that at times, sort of the dark side of all-female culture is portrayed as well. Sport is often depicted as these outlaw kind of very uber cool women, very athletic women, very articulate women, and you're sort of swept up in this image of roller derby. What is so disarming and so charming and so winning about the women that I've been following is, although there are some terrific athletes, a lot of the women actually are not athletes. They're not women who have huge networks of friends outside of derby. They weren't the cool kids in high school. And they don't fit that mainstream and alternative image that is portrayed over and over again of the sport. They're kind of a group of outsiders, and as the underdog, you cannot help but root for them and be impressed by them, because what is so truly cool about this group of women is not external, but it's their internal, genuine desire to be inclusive, to be democratic, to be open to all sorts of possibilities through roller derby, and to make it accessible to women who would never, who in many leagues would probably not be that welcome. So I'm so impressed and so privileged that I was able to be a part of this, and I'm very excited to bring a documentary that will perhaps show a more nuanced view of the sport through this very unique league that existed for a period of time here in Northern Ontario. Really hoping that you can support this film. I thank you so much, and I look forward to bringing it to you.
Say it now.